Those of you who know me know my life is one long set of bullet points, so I'm going to talk to you about the landmarks in my life that have put me here in the heading of 4 comings, bullet points that got me here. And the first one is coming from nothing. I had a great childhood, but some of my earliest memories are standing with my mother in the food stamp line when there was still a line and there were still food stamps that you tore off and you gave to the A&P clerk. It was the A&P in South Alabama where we shopped. And my grandparents babysitting us and helping out and loaning us cars and bringing us meals to fill the gaps. And obviously that experience taught me many things, but 2 important ones were first that sometimes hardworking families just need a little help to get to the ladder, and they will take it from there. And that was certainly the case for my parents, who are lovely people who've worked hard their whole lives and who have given back tenfold whatever they got from us originally. And then the second, that I learned if I wanted something and if I was going to get something, I was going to have to work for it, and that I was going to have to earn it, and I was going to have to make it happen for myself. And I did want things. I wanted important things like Guess jeans and hypercolor t-shirts like all of my friends had. And so at 14, I started working at McDonald's. And from that time to this time, until a couple of months ago, there's never been a time in my life when I was not employed in sometimes multiple jobs, and summer jobs and weekend jobs, to make sure that I could go to the basketball camp that I wanted to and take the extra classes that I needed and just take care of the things, pay my car note on my 1987 Ford Tempo. What? It was a nice ride. So that early start created a sense of discipline and hard work and work ethic in me that has served me well throughout my life. So coming from nothing and then coming out, I am. Don't tell anybody that I'm like a secret agent. That was a challenging process in my life. But I was somebody, while I wasn't a perfect kid, I wanted to do the right thing, and I tried to do things to make my parents and my pastors and my teachers proud of me. I aimed for excellence. I was in the Geek Club and the Honor Society and student government, and I played sports, and I made good grades, and I got a scholarship to college, and I was the first kid to go to college in my family, and I tried to do all the things right. But as an undergrad, I realized some things about myself, and when I did, it made all the sense in the world, and I could not wait to come out, and I did, and it could have gone better. And while I would not wish experiences like that on anybody, I would also not change a thing, because if for the first time in my life, I truly felt what it was like to be other. And in a moment, to be judged and marginalized, no matter what else I had done, for something that was literally outside of my control. And I consider that one of the greatest gifts of my life, because it gave me a sense of empathy and a depth of compassion for everybody else who finds themselves in the other category that I might not have ever gotten, but certainly not at that early age. So I'm grateful for that, and my coming out shaped me in meaningful ways. And then coming into motherhood, as Bob described, we have 2 precocious, almost 7-year-old twin daughters who are terrific, and as all the parents in here can attest to, children change your lives in every meaningful way, not the least of which is making you question your own competence and sanity constantly. But for me, a couple of ways that were most impactful is they've helped me define my beliefs and my positions. It's one thing to talk amongst your peers about what you think and what you feel, but when you have a precocious 6-year-old ask you about an important subject at an important time, you have to do a gut check on, why do I feel this way? Do I feel this way? How did I arrive at these feelings? Is this what I want to go out into the world? Because once you give it to them, it's out. And it's out in the exact way that you present it. And so that's been a meaningful experience for me to really understand who I am and how that gets represented. And obviously the whole sense of legacy. The last few years, they have brought to me a sense of questioning on what am I doing, and is it mattering? And is it mattering with my paycheck or the house I live in, or is it mattering in the next generation? Is it mattering for them long term? not today. And that has helped me make difficult decisions about what my next steps are in life. And thankfully, I have a spouse who has supported that type of discovery for me. So coming into motherhood and then finally coming home. Also, as Bob mentioned, Chrissy and I had been together for a little over 16 years. And 10 of those, we had the opportunity to live abroad in Dallas and, and in Florida. And a couple of years ago, she had the opportunity with her job and a job promotion to come back to Birmingham. And so we had that quintessential come to Jesus moment where we said, are we ready to go back home? Do we want to move back? Do we want to raise our daughters there? And clearly the answer was a resounding yes. We belong here and we love it here. But it was a yes with the commitment to come back and not gripe about the way things are, but to plug in and to meet amazing people who are doing good things and to figure out ways that we could truly engage and affect change in the place that we love so much. So all of these things and others have put me in front of you tonight as a candidate for state representative in House District 46. And I'm running because I expect more for my state than the scandal and the corruption and the gross incompetence and the utter lack of priorities that have plagued our state government for decades, and on many sides, for that matter. When you are at or near the bottom in things like diabetes and obesity and other chronic illnesses and childhood poverty and infant mortality and maternal, you should be having a constant and urgent discussion about the state of healthcare in your state. And not just things like expanding Medicaid, certainly, but long-term delivery and implementation systems that gives access to quality healthcare to all of our citizens. That should be the conversation. When you are only able to attract predominantly the industries and businesses that only come here with the promise of exorbitant and long-term tax breaks and cheap labor, our people, then you should be having an urgent strategic discussion about public education and workforce development and how we give ages 3 to 23 every opportunity at experiences and exposure to bring the jobs here necessary that are going to take us into the future. That's the discussion we should be having. When 20% of your roads and bridges are functionally obsolete, and some of your communities' sewer systems are literally spraying solid waste into folks' backyards, when you have entire populations and communities that have no access to broadband communication and high-speed internet, when you have not a single city with an efficient, cutting-edge transit system that brings in the type of businesses and residents that we want to live in our communities, then we should be having urgent strategic discussions about the status of infrastructure in our state. And when you have one of the oldest and longest and most onerous constitutions in the world, literally in the world, and one that allows folks from Mountain Brook to tell folks in Birmingham what they can pay their employees, and one that allows folks from other parts of the state to tell the city of Homewood what it can charge in taxes to fund the school system that they want for their community, then you should have 135 dedicated public servants in Montgomery ribbing it up and figuring out a way to create a modern, strategic, innovative, living document that creates opportunities and protects the rights of every citizen in the state. That's just 3 or 4. Many, many things need to be discussed with that level of urgency. And instead, we are talking about 10 Commandments, and who gets married, and transgender bathrooms, and Confederate monuments, and private school police forces, and how fast we can kill an inmate in jail. We don't have the right priorities, and we expect very little, and they meet those expectations consistently. So we have to expect more. And to do that, we have to put leaders in there who are willing to make sacrifices of time and finances because they care. And we need lots of people like that. And I didn't come here to play. I'm fired up. I'm ready to do the work. And to do the work, I have to get the seat. To get this seat, I have to be elected. And to do that, I need 3 things from all of you lovely folks. In order of importance. Think of your neighbors and your friends and your co-workers and colleagues and Sunday school mates and running club. Anybody that you know that lives generally in Bluff Park and Homewood and Mountain Brook, and introduce them to me. I would like to see 2 people, 5 people, 17 people, 65 people. Anybody that you can assemble. Low budget. I want to have as much direct eyeball-to-eyeball voter engagement as possible over the next 8 months. I want people to know who I am and what I stand for on both sides of the aisle, because people want sensible, pragmatic, authentic people to represent them, and District 46 is ready, but I need to know those people, so I need your contacts and connections, first and foremost. Secondly, social media. It's a big deal. It's a bigger deal than I would like it to be. It's overwhelming to me, but it's a part of this system now, and we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Stewart, the number 4, Alabama, Stewart for Alabama. So like us, share us, get your friends to do the same. Take a picture of yourself in these awesome t-shirts. It's everybody's color. And tell your friends on Facebook and the other platforms that you're supporting us and why. And lastly, money. To the extent that you're able. Not only do I want to win this seat, but I want to win this seat having spent the least amount of money ever spent in a victory in District 46. We're going to be efficient. We're going to report everything accurately. You'll go online and you can find all of our expenses and you can question me on any of them. I welcome it. The money's going to be spent primarily on field work with Daniel and his crew. We're going to knock doors and make phone calls and put yard signs. So we need a few utilities to be able to do that, probably some office space to be able to house people so we can work effectively. That's what we're going to spend the money on. So we need that money. And little donations, big donations, but that is the third of the items we need. So work yourself through the system before we get there, but I happily accept whatever you're able to give. Lastly, I know it's a common practice for politicians to leave you with some inspirational axiom from a former president or from Dr. King. But I'm not quite a politician, so I'm going to leave you with some words from an Alabama talent by the name of Wet Willie. In a song that my girls and I like to sing, Keep On Smiling, he asks an existential question. Are you a bum or are you a star? Ask yourself. I contend that my great state is a star who has been treated like a bum for too long. And we need some good people in Montgomery to shine her up, and that's what I'm here to do. So thank you for coming. Thank you for your support.